What's going on, NFL fans? Welcome back to the Jay All Day Show. Today, we're going to break down all the teams in the NFC. We're going to rank them. The S tier is going to be my Super Bowl pick. A is obviously the good teams. The F is the bad teams. We're going to start on the bottom. And we wouldn't be real NFL fans unless we added the Panthers to the F tier. Bryce Young struggled last year. Miles Sanders was insignificant. They paid him all that money to absolutely do nothing. They did add some really good players in the draft on the offensive side of the ball, like Xavier Legette, but I just don't think that's going to be enough to get them over the hump this year. Maybe a few years down the road, they're going to be really young this year. They didn't have a first-round pick. They had to trade up to pick 32 to pick Xavier Legette. Hopefully he can be that number one outside receiver for Bryce Young. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think they stay in that F tier and win less than 5 games. Next up on this tier, to me, it's between the New York Giants and the Washington Commanders, but I think it's going to be the Commanders, man. They had 1 million draft picks. Jaden Daniels goes number 2 to the Commanders. Can he revamp this offense under Cliff Kingsbury, the new offensive coordinator there? They got a new head coach in Dan Quinn. A lot of moving parts. They added some defensive line help too in the draft after they traded away Montez Sweat and Chase Young. They have a young team and an experienced team, and I don't think they're going to be very good. All right, now, the last and final team in the F tier. Where do we go? Is it Arizona, who really struggled last year, or is it going to be the New York Giants? As much as I want to put the Giants there, I think Daniel Jones is going to be able to bounce back, so I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals, man. I don't have a lot of faith in Kyler Murray. They were able to draft Marvin Harrison Jr., but it seems like anyone who goes to Arizona is like destined to fail. Kyler Murray's got a really bad attitude, in my opinion. He rubs a lot of people the wrong way. He talks a lot of shit on his teammates. I don't love Kyler Murray. I don't love their head coach, Jonathan Gannon, who was the former defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. I just don't think he has what it takes to help ramp up that offense to get to the next level in that division. So, Panthers, Commanders, Cardinals, they are my F tier. Next, we're going to move up to the D tier, and we're going to be putting in the New York Football Giants. All right, everyone. The Giants have Daniel Jones coming in off an injury. They have some of the worst cornerbacks in the entire NFL. The D-line's not very good. The offensive line is mediocre. They don't have a running back, really. They were able to get a number 1 wide receiver in Malik Nabers, who is my favorite wide receiver in the entire draft. So it's kind of a shit or get off the pot situation for Daniel Jones. If you can't make it work with Malik Nabers, they're going to have to move on from Daniel Jones and figure out what the heck they're going to do at the quarterback position. Looking at the rest of the teams left to choose from, where do we go from here? I think we got to go with the Seattle Seahawks, man. I'm not a big believer in Geno Smith. Pete Carroll got his bus pass out of town. I think they're really going to struggle on offense like they did last year. They have Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, but for whatever reason, their offensive line is always trash. Geno Smith is consistently running for his life all the time. I expect that to continue in 2024. These bottom 5 teams in the NFC, in my opinion, have no chance of making the playoffs or making a run at the Super Bowl. But the remaining 11 teams are all fairly even, in my opinion. Well, so where does this last team land in the D category? I think this is going to surprise some people, but I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears. I think there's going to be a lot of growing pains for Caleb Williams to be able to throw on time. He has the weapons in place with DeAndre Swift and Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze. I just don't think this is going to be able to get them over the hump to be a 10-win, 11-win team in the NFC. I think they're going to win 8 or 9 games, maybe even win 7 games again. So my D tier is the Giants, the Seahawks, and the best team in that tier, probably the Bears. Now we move up to the C tier. I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys first. They need a lot of help on offensive line, and they didn't really address it in the draft too much. Tyler Guyton, the guy that they drafted, they traded back in the first round to get Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma, but I don't know if he's better than the guys that they have. He's a very raw prospect. I don't expect him to be at his full potential for another 2 or 3 years. he is a very, very raw prospect, and I don't think he starts. Maybe he does because of injury or the other guys are just so bad. But if he's thrown into the fire, Dak Prescott and that offense are really going to struggle this year, I think. That's why the Dallas Cowboys, in my opinion, land in the C tier. All right, my next team in the C tier is the New Orleans Saints. No matter what, they have Derek Carr as their quarterback. And for whatever reason, Derek Carr always finds a way to blow it, man. He is just not a top-level quarterback in this league. He turns the ball over. He's a very disgruntled guy. He's another guy that the players in the locker room don't necessarily love him. He's talking trash on his teammates. He's bitching and complaining about the situation and why he's not doing better instead of just being a man and working through the tough times. I just don't believe in Derek Carr at all whatsoever. I was actually thinking about swapping the Saints and Chicago, but with a rookie quarterback on an offense of a bunch of new parts, I just think New Orleans is a team that's kind of been together for a little bit longer than Chicago, and they'll, find some wins, squeak out a few more wins than the Bears. And then the final team in this tier to me is the Minnesota Vikings. And that's because they have a rookie quarterback. And Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, with this rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, they're going to get frustrated, man. Michigan didn't ask J.J. McCarthy to do a lot in college. So for him to come in and be this guy who's going to throw the ball 40 times a game, 35 times a game, I just don't see it happening. And I think if he does throw that much, he's going to throw a lot of picks and he's going to struggle. I think J.J. McCarthy is going to be fine 2-3 years from now, but he's a really young guy. He doesn't have a ton of experience. He threw the ball less than 20 times, like pretty much every single game in college, right? It was a power run offense. I just don't think they're going to be ready to compete with these other teams at the next level. All right, so next up, we're going to move to the B tier, and that is going to start off with the Philadelphia Eagles, right? They had a great start last year, 10-1, but then they had the worst second half of an NFL season, maybe in NFL history. They completely fell apart. That defense is trash. The secondary was horrible. The linebackers were even worse. They did somehow get Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean to fill out that secondary for the Birds. And they have a great offense with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Hurts. So we'll see how that defense kind of helps out that offense a little bit. So sometimes the best offense is a really good defense. But the Eagles' defense has been really trash. They brought in Vic Fangio to run that 3-4 scheme. So we'll have to see how that plays out as the season goes forward. But they're not an A-level team, in my opinion. I think they're a B-level team. And next up for me, a B-level team is the Atlanta Falcons. I'm putting Atlanta in the B tier because you don't know how Kirk Cousins is going to be. They have a lot of weapons on that offense, Bijan Robinson and London. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch. Really exciting team. But Kirk Cousins is coming off a serious Achilles injury, and I saw the scars on one of the talk shows, and it is super gnarly, man. He had a really bad Achilles tear, man. And they drafted Michael Penix Jr. at number 8. So does that start to, create some locker room conflict with the Falcons? They have all the talent in the world on offense. They went pretty heavy on defense in the draft, but they could have been a C or B tier team. But I like Kirk Cousins because if he's healthy, he's just a better quarterback than I think all the guys on the C level. He's better than Dak, better than Derek Carr, better than a rookie J.J. McCarthy. I'd rather Kirk Cousins in a win-now situation, right? So B tier for the Atlanta Falcons. And the last tier for the B squad is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had a playoff appearance last year where they blew the brakes off the Philadelphia Eagles. The defense lost a lot of parts in free agency this year, so we're going to have to see how that core moves on from losing a lot of veterans on that team. Levante David's getting older. Baker's another year older. Mike Evans is another year older. So I could see this team regressing a little bit, maybe just get into the playoffs like they did last year or potentially just miss the playoffs. Baker Mayfield seems to be coming into his own a little bit, not trying to do too much in that offense, kind of taking what defenses give him. I like Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans, but they're just getting 1 year older. Mike Evans is, getting up there in age a little bit, and we might see some regression from him this year. All right, now on to the A tier. The first team is the San Francisco 49ers. That's right, guys. They're not going back to the Super Bowl this year. I love this team. In my opinion, this is, an SA type of tier. They're going to be probably in the NFC Championship game again this year, but I think there's one team that's going to beat them. The next on this is the LA Rams. I love that offense. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford. And Matt Stafford, he's one of the most underappreciated quarterbacks in the NFL. He's had some injury issues over the last couple of years, so hopefully he can stay healthy this year. If Stafford stays healthy, man, that offense is going to hum. With Cooper Kupp, hopefully he can stay healthy as well. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and Matt Stafford, they're going to win a lot of games. And their division isn't that strong. I don't think the Seahawks and the Cardinals are very good teams. So I think the Rams can definitely win over 10 games this year. I like them to be one of the higher tier teams in the NFC this year and win the NFC West. And then the next team on this list, is it the Packers? Is it the Lions? Boom! It's the Green Bay Packers. So that leaves my Super Bowl pick for the NFC being the Detroit Lions. And they won the draft too. How about them moving up past the Packers, trading with the Cowboys to take Terry and Arnold. And then they got Rickershaw in the second round. They drafted two really good corners and a secondary that needed a lot of help. And hopefully this is going to put them over the hump with two really good rookie cornerbacks and that amazing offense, that great offensive line. But the Green Bay Packers are right there too. They got a lot of young players. It's a really young team still. Offense is still very young with Jordan Love. He doesn't have a ton of NFL experience yet. The defense got a little bit better this year. So I think the Packers are going to be very, very, very good. I just think the Lions are a smidge better. All right, so for my tiers, the worst are the Panthers, Commanders, and Cardinals. The D squad is the Giants, Seahawks, and Bears. The C squad is the Cowboys, Saints, and Vikings. And then the B squad is the Birds, the Falcons, and the Buccaneers. The A squad being the 49ers, Rams, and Packers. And going into the Super Bowl in the NFC is the Detroit Lions. Let me know in the comments below, what is your tier list? What teams did I get wrong? What teams did I get right? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.